Welcome to this tutorial on implementing multi-tenancy in server-side Blazor apps. I'll be using database per tenant strategy. So I already have Management Studio open. And I'm going to run database scripts to create my sample database. So I'm going to first of all create a database called Bike Stores 1. Bike Stores 1. I'll double click on this create objects to create the needed objects against Bike Store 1. Then I'll double click on load data. I will change this to use Bike Stores 1. And I'm fine. Then I'll go to my C drive. So I'll go to my C drive. I'll create a new folder called Bike Stores. Then I'm going to start Blazor Studio. So Blazor Studio is starting. I'll click on New Application. And I'll click Blazor Server Application. The name will be Bike Stores. The template I want to use is Fluent, and this is the directory the app will be placed in. App is still building. App is ready. So straight away I go to data, go to MS SQL connection. As server, username is SA. Password is this, Bike Stores 1. generate CRUD pages. So I click finish. App is ready. Straight away I scaffold security. I use ASP.NET Core Identity. So security is added. Let me run the app for the first time. App is building. So application has run for the first time. Let's stop it. Let's stop it. Let's close this. Now it's time to open the application in Visual Studio. So application is open in Visual Studio. So we are going to reintroduce old startup class. So add class. Startup. We are going to make startup a partial class. So I'm going to add these 3 lines to old startup class. I'm going to create this method in the old startup class. I'm going to add this to old startup class. I'm also going to bring back the old configure method for startup class. I will now head over to program.cs file. In program.cs file, I'm going to introduce public partial class program, void main, and create host builder method. Now, use URL. That's URLs for two tenants. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to remove all the add services to container. So I'm going to remove them. I'll bring them over to configure services method. And you can see you have builder.services, builder.services, builder. So I'm going to replace all the builder.services with services.add. So let me replace all the builder.services with services.add. Let me add the using statement for this. Also, at the top of add services to the container, I'm going to add services.add HTTP context accessor. Then I'm going to go back to program.cs. I'm going to copy all this. I'll put them inside configure method. But there are still one or two errors I'm going to correct here. So when I'm done with my error correction, configure services will look like this. Meanwhile, I'll go back to program.cs. I'm going to remove all these lines. I don't need them any longer. Now, I'm going to go to my connection strings in app settings.json. So now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce a section for multi-tenancy in this app settings.json. So by the time I introduce a section for multi-tenancy, our new apps enhanced app settings.json looks like this. We have a multi-tenancy section with a subsection for tenants. And you can see we have two tenants. Next, we are going to have a partial class for startup.cs. We are going to add it. New class. We call it startup.custom.cs. It's going to be a partial class. Now, this is the definition of how our partial class is going to look like. So it has a partial definition for onConfigure services method, where we also get the configuration settings for multi-tenancy. And then it has a partial definition for onConfigure method. And then we have two custom class definitions, one for tenant, another for multi-tenancy. Also, we are going to have a partial class definition for application identity DB context. So I'm adding it right now. The definition for this partial class is going to look like this. We have two constructors, and then we have an override for the onConfiguring method. We're also going to add a partial class definition for onData context. Partial class definition. And the partial class definition is going to look something like this. We also have two constructors for data context and an override for the onConfiguring method. Lastly, we are going to add to the bike stores project an environment file which contains the setting for the current active tenant database. Right now, the settings for the currently active tenant database is bike stores 2. Let's change it to bike stores 1. Now let's go to app settings.json. Let's ensure the initial catalog in the connection string property is also bike stores 1. Now, let's look at bike stores 1 database. Let's right click on it and say task, generate scripts. Next, we want to script the entire database. Type of data to script, schema and data. Open a new query window. We click next. So we click finish. We change this to create database bike stores 2. We select that portion. We execute. Use bike stores 2. Scroll to the bottom. Alter database bike stores 2. Execute. Done. So I right click on databases, refresh. So I have bike stores 1 and bike stores 2. Sweet. I close this. Save changes to the following items. No. Now, it's time to run the application. Hold on. Let me click build cancel. Let me ensure that everything is saved. File close solution. Let me reopen the solution again. So initial catalog is bike stores 1. Here initial catalog is bike stores 1. So let's run. Let me look at my startup file. Program.cs 2001 5002. Environment file. Bike stores 1. Okay. App is logging in. So app has started. I log in. Admin. Admin. Rows. Add tenant 1 admin. Okay, let me call it app admin 1. This created app admin 2. Now let me go to users. Now let me add Benjamin SQL Server at gmail.com to app admin 1 row. Okay, I'm adding it to app admin 2 password. Now let me log out. Now let me stop the app. Let me go to environment. I changed it to Backstores 2. I ensure I save. App storage initial catalog for connection string. I also changed to Backstores 2. I ensure I save. Click save all. I reload again. Let me go to port 5002 this time around. Admin. Yeah, no rows here because we're in the second tenant. Add app user 1. Add app user 2. Now let me create Let me go to users at pemuyiwa@yahoo.com. Let's make him app user 1. So we've assigned pemuyiwa@yahoo.com to app user 1. So that's done. Let's log out. Let's stop the browser. Now, if you go to check the database, ASP net users for Bike Store 1 contains one user, Benjamin SQL Server at gmail.com. ASP.NET users for Bike Stores 2 contains pemuyiwa@yahoo.com. So thank you for watching. And please, if you've not subscribed to my channel, please do me a favor by hitting the subscribe button. Thank you. My channel, let me just, so to get, to subscribe to my channel, just go to youtube.com, ensure that you are logged in, and you just search for Benjamin Fadina. So you see the subscribe button, make sure you hit it. Thank you.